All right, I'm gonna be real with you. Diablo 2 dropped a new class. Creator of Binding of Isaac dropped Mugenics. I don't. Where do I find room in the schedule to sleep? Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Legacy video. And Edison wanted me to do something kind of cool. Edison wanted me to play a deck with 4x Cori-Steelcutter and 4x Stormchaser's Talent. Both of these permanents generate tokens with prowess. And one of the things that blue decks are notoriously good at doing is churning through cards. So with a playset of Ponders and Brainstorms and Mishra's Bauble, it should be pretty easy to consistently trigger and re-trigger prowess on these permanents. The shell here, honestly, is nothing too fancy today. There's one more lightning bolt that doesn't quite cleanly fit on screen here. This is something that I built a couple of different ways, and if you do a search for Cori-Steelcutter and Stormchaser's Talent at the same time, there's a handful of recent results in the last 2 weeks that look something like this. And the flex slots tend to be like the last Boomerang Basics, the last Cori-Steelcutter, Murktide Regent, and a 19th land. Edison specifically wanted 4x Cori-Steelcutter, Stormchaser's Talent, Boomerang Basics, and then left the rest to me. And while a couple builds might be slightly better than this one, this is the one that I think fulfills Edison's vision for how this deck was supposed to go the best. So we're going to play this. I have adjusted the main deck and sideboard just a little bit. The core non-land cards I didn't mess with as at all. I did take out an island to add a Thundering Falls to the deck. If I had a 19th land, it would either be a second island or a 9th fetch land. The build that I used as a starting point had Blood Moons in the sideboard, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, and hence why it had 2 basic islands. So I'd probably err on the side of another fetch land. As far as the sideboard goes, the only thing really to keep in mind here is that instants and sorceries go up in value a little bit when playing a deck that has Stormchaser's Talent, because you can end up rebuying them in the late game. About the only thing that's not here that could be here is something like a Hydroblast or Blue Elemental Blast. Those see play a decent amount of time as well in sideboards of decks that look like this one. There are some other ways to build this same idea, and Tamiyo is kind of the wild card here. If you go up on Tamiyos, you lose out on something very real. That does not mean that it's bad, but you lose out on like either Murktide or DRC or something like Daze. So one of my drafts didn't actually have Daze and instead was opting to use all of its land drops to funnel like Tamiyo clues and Stormchaser Talent activations. But the metagame is relatively combo heavy right now, so I think we need those dazes as well as the additional counter spells out of the sideboard. I haven't played some Magic in a couple of days. I did some traveling out of town, so let's go ahead and jump into a league. And I know that I'm going to need to be ordering some cards in the next couple of days. I'll be doing it from toamagic.com and using my own promo code ThrabenU to save a little bit on my order. Plus, you always get free shipping, great customer service, everything that you would expect from an awesome Magic store. Looking forward to seeing these folks again in Vegas in May. All right, let's battle. I don't think Bryant will mind me sharing this in chat. He said, I just got wrecked by oops in 2 non-games. I am ready for that shit to be banned. Agreed, Bryant. I'm going to keep this hand. I'm not going to specifically metagame against Bryant playing a specific, flavor of Storm deck, because he does other stuff for content as well. Let's throw down the Stormchaser's Talent. Underground Mortuary. No follow-up play from there. I'm going to start here. Do my Otter Prowess thing. Okay, Force of Will's great. Put back 1 and 2. Land drop. Fetch. Get a Volk. Yeah, I still want to do this all pre-combat. Because I want to surveil and get the Prowess trigger. Oh, alright. Reanimator? Reanimator question mark? Send in for 3. This is fairer than I think it is. Then Bowmasters is awkward. Alright, Days on the Horizon, which is awkward. Ooh. Alright, this is Deceit. So this can take a card from my hand. I think that is just occurring because we know about Days. I've lost the Force of Will. I'm into pondering here. Let's just always yield to these otters. Daze is a counter spell. It's not the most exciting. Having access to multiple copies of Boomerang Basics is certainly not the worst in my current scenario. I think I'm going to go ahead and just throw down another Stormchaser's Talent here and keep 2 copies of Boomerang Basics. And then we can either go wild with otters or bounce Bryant's Deceit or other reanimated creature. Down to 13 already? That's a nice island. I don't know what the creature suite over there is going to look like. An Orcish Bowmasters is kind of awkward here. Maybe I don't cast the Ponder. Thundering Falls, maybe look for a Lightning Bolt in case that is a thing. Cori-Steelcutter is a lot of damage. Okay. We can Cori-Steelcutter. There's also lines where I end up putting Force of Will back into my hand with Stormchaser's Talent. So there's Cori-Steelcutter, trigger. I will Boomerang Basics, a Stormchaser's Talent. So none of my creatures die to Bowmaster right now. And that is just death. Bryant did not accomplish a lot there. Was there a mulligan involved there? Yes, there was. So the hand was probably just missing something fundamental. GG. Alright, I've got Grafdigger's Cage. I can think about Pyroblasts and Force of Negations as well. Technically could think about Consign too. I don't know how excited I am about that. I kind of think I can kill Bryant without Murktide Regent. I think I'm going to get rid of that. Those become the cages. I think I want to pick up some Force of Negations at the cost of Lightning Bolts. I don't know whether or not... Like, Deceit Reanimator is not a thing. I don't know exactly what this deck is going to look like. I don't know if I need to respect Barrow-Goyf specifically, so something like Unholy Heat matters. It may just be that doing something like this is fine, or keeping the Lightning Bolts, or keeping the Murktide Regents. Alright, I like Force of Will as much as the next guy, but I also like lands. Maybe not quite this much, but I do like them. Bryant's deck appears to have a bunch of Surveil lands, so maybe I get some mileage out of this Wasteland. There's a Ponder. There's also potentially the horseshit that is Tamiyo, in which case I'm very light on removal for this game. Ponder shuffles. I'm fine wastelanding, especially with Force of Negation as the draw. And then we'll pick up a little bit of information about what else is going on over there. A new Ponder. You got it. I will take my redraw. Damn, this hand had a lot of land. There's the Ponder. We're not going to fight over something like that. That Ponder keeps. Alright. I'm going to get this into play. This clock matters, especially since I'm not churning through my deck very well right now. Like, I potentially need to do this and then Force of Negation to Surveil. I don't mind the Wasteland. I do mind that. I think I am going to fight over that. A Daze is awkward here, but I would like to turn this into a 3-3 and get going right now. Yes. Alright, cool. So now, 3 card types in graveyard. Let's attempt to turn this into a 3-3. Pyroblast. I already have instants in graveyard. This is not a crazy good draw. I'm just going to say no to that. Make my otter. And in for 1. 19. There's not a creature in the graveyard for my opponent to reanimate yet. Let's see if that changes. Ooh, yeah. So this can now put the creature on top of library, and then the surveil land can dunk it into graveyard. This sort of play pattern was talked about a lot when the surveil lands first came out, with Worldly Tutor being the thing that people talked about the most. And then in reality, this play pattern doesn't happen all that much. There's an Archon. Time for me to have Grafdigger's Cage as the top card of my deck. Damn. In for 2. Down to 16. There's land drop 3. That's a Barrowgoyf. Alright, so here's the pivot. I think that is occurring. So I do need Unholy Heat now. Or I just hit a Boomerang Basics. Wasteland I'll say no to. I am willing to cast this. Surveil Cori-Steelcutter. I'm going to send that to graveyard to turn this into a 3/3. Always yield to the otter. This all is pretty good. I think we go one problem at a time here. Do Grafdigger's Cage immediately. The plan is to junk one of the lands directly. Cool. We did not need to fight over that. Unfortunately, this is still a 1/1. I wanted the Stormchaser's talent here, and I'll go ahead and pass. I think we're just not gonna let that connect. Barrowgoyf into another Barrowgoyf would not be fun for me. Petty Theft can resolve, and I'll fight this. Reanimate Stormchaser's talent. Do this. Ooh, it is Force of Will. Unfortunate. So at this point, Bryant probably gets this one because that also takes the Grafdigger's Cage out of my hand. Like this is just 6 + 5, 11, not counting the trigger there. That is not gonna do it. We are dead there. GG. So I want a few outs to resolve Barrowgoyf. This build does not have room for Brazen Borrower. Otherwise, I'm going to keep things as is. I'm willing to keep this. This is a non-basic, sorry, this is a basic land. And I get 1 redraw immediately and also have a ponder. Like this is fine to good. Otter trigger. Bobble. Yield to that nonsense. Take the redraw. Veil of Summer. Noted. Veil of Summer makes these significantly worse. Yes. I don't think these cards are so bad that I'm just going to cash in the 2-for-1 on a ponder immediately. Brainstorm is a card that exists. Plus, if I just spike the red land, I can cast Cori-Steelcutter with Force of Will backup. There's a shuffle. Alright, did not rip the red land. So let's try to find the next land drop anyway. Okay, success. Kind of into bam, bam, bam. No shuffle. Send this here. Go to combat. Send in for turn. Next turn I cast Cori-Steelcutter with Bobble to trigger it immediately. And that sounds kind of nice. There was a weird draw step stop there. I think it is possible that Bryant drew a Metamorphosis Fanatic. So land drop, fetch, bulk, Cori-Steelcutter. Don't love seeing the response here. It's very possible there could be a counter war with Veil of Summer involved. Negative. Barrowgoyf to the yard. Cori-Steelcutter resolves. Here's the bobble. Yes. I will bobble you. Force of Will coming. Cards are well protected. I mean, Veil and Force. I don't mind another bobble. That potentially represents another monk. There's another land drop. That is a reanimate. I know that Veil of Summer is a thing. So I can cast this and it just draws Bryant a card and gets Veil out of hand. I think that occurs. If I cast some of this stuff on my own turn, the Force of Will specifically, I might get another Cori-Steelcutter blocker for the Barrowgoyf. So, Stormchaser's talent. It's always yield to these monks. There's a Force of Will pitching a Daze. I could now Force of Will to trigger Cori-Steelcutter, and then that gets Veil out of hand. I don't hate it. Make the monks big. So there's the fetch, and this is all as expected. So the stack will clear. I will Mishra's Bauble. It's now a 5/6 though, since this enchantment went to the graveyard, which is inconvenient. Fatal Push coming, understood. I think I'm just chilling for now. All the counter spells. Land drop 3. I think I will just go ahead and block with a monk token here and assume that over a period of time I eventually overwhelm this. I can't easily cast a second spell here. I might just go ahead and wait a turn till I can get Cori-Steelcutter value. The slow cantrip like the Bauble, significantly worse than more traditional cantrips here. That's fine. The Goyf is coming in. Fine with just continuing to block here. Assuming that Cori-Steelcutter does some good stuff. Oh man, these counter spells are not what I am looking for right now. I can cast Mishra's Bauble, hold priority, daze it, pay for the daze, and make a creature that way. Kinda thinking about it. Yeah. So, I will daze my own spell, returning an island, trigger Cori-Steelcutter, pay for my daze, resolve my Bauble, play my land, cycle this. Oh, it is Metamorphosis Fanatic. I'm just going to chill with both of these back so that a removal spell doesn't let the Goyf get through. Ooh. So if I counter this, Metamorphosis Fanatic gets it back, which is gross. I think I let it resolve. What a gross spot. 17. Bauble redraw is not great here. This means that I lose one of the monks. It's a miracle. So this card is annoying enough right now, legitimately, just as a 4/4 lifelinker. Like, I think I counter that to keep that out of play and am unhappy about it. I suspect, yeah, that this now happens. I'm going to get whomped for 9. I just did not end up being able to churn through spells to get decline. Boomerang Basics. I can bounce Barrowgoyf out of play. I think I need to aim higher than that. Brainstorm is not what I'm looking for. So I can cast Stormchaser's Talent, make another creature. Triggers. Gonna go ahead and attack some mana here. So the thing that I'm worried about is that there's just a second Metamorphosis Fanatic on top that returns the first Metamorphosis Fanatic, which was part of the reason why I thought I needed to go deeper, and I was willing to let Bowmaster stuff be Bowmaster stuff. And to that, I think I am going to go ahead and concede. Bryant also says, the auto yield hurt me this turn. Could have killed a monk. Don't know when exactly he said that, but regardless, GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you're looking to store your decks online, you're not going to find a better website. It's super organized and easy to use, and I sort everything that I do into a ton of format-specific folders, and you can customize the way that you use Moxfield to your liking. Whether you like text views or visual views of multiple different natures, Moxfield has it all. And it's so easy to use, you might even say that it's a snap. All right, we're playing against Oh Shit, Not You. Oh shit, it is me. Love your videos? Why, thank you. I'll be keeping this hand. We've got a Stormchaser's Talent, a Boomerang Basics to bounce it. Ancient Tomb, I've got a Wasteland for that. This is fine. I will probably take some damage to just take out the Ancient Tomb immediately and not let my opponent run away with their mana. Like, if need be, Boomerang Basics can bounce a Deuter over there. This is fine. Like, I have so many lands here. I will just take 2. I have a basic island that I can do Stormchaser's talent stuff with. Let's do more damage between friends. Getcha. So it's my assumption that my opponent is going to hit the land drop on this turn. It's my hope that, you know, the next turn after that or something, we end up actually preventing them from doing something cool. I think at this point, I will probably just Lightning Bolt it that heralds the end. I would prefer this to go after like a Glaring Fleshraker or something, but ooh, get a Line Breaker for my trouble? Hell yeah. This It That Heralds the End is giving my opponent good value though. So goodbye. Oh my god, It That Heralds the End. Yep. Oh, I just punted that entire fucking game. Oh, that was so bad. Alright, we ponder. I don't think I'm looking for this stuff. I can play like a 1/1 blocker. I just punted the whole game. Let's go ahead and move on. Yeah, so I Lightning Bolt this, I take a little bit of damage, and then I like Stormchaser's Talent, Boomerang Basics this out of play to slow my opponent's mana down, and I probably stabilize and win. Unless they like keep hitting land drops and remain aggressive. Alright, Consign in, Unholy Heat in, Pyroclasm is something I can think about, but I don't know that I'm going to end up fully playing. I don't know this matchup well enough to know what I cut. I might hedge against Cavern and do this. Feels weird to cut counterspells while also bringing in consigns. Like, this is free, this costs mana. Maybe it's down on threats. Go down the expensive tap out threat. Although Murktide Regent costs the same mana. The flying is pretty relevant here. Yeah. This is fine. I don't know that it's exciting, but it's fine. Let's go ahead and start with a Surveil land. I don't really want this unless I get Wastelanded. I'm going to go ahead and send that to the bin. My goal here is to just cast a Murktide Regent on turn 3 or turn 4. Lotus Petal is fine. I'm going to let that resolve and Lightning Bolt it. Cool. Let's put this in play. Get rid of Fleshraker. Pass the turn. Ancient Tomb. Big Eldrazi. I will say no to that. This is 3 things in graveyard. This is 4 things in graveyard. This is 5 things in graveyard. I think I'm just going to use this brainstorm as a suboptimal brainstorm, but one that is going to make a Murktide Regent. I'm going to go bam, bam, draw days, play brainstorm, put back 1, 2, land drop, big boy, brainstorm, brainstorm, force, lightning bolt, and a land. And then I can end up cycling bobble. Although I think I'll wait a second because Thought Knot Seer is a thing that exists. Petal is fine. Oh, am I getting Reality Smasher? Ooh, a Wastescape Battle Mage to just return Murktide to my hand. Yeah, sure. That's just naturally done around days since the Lotus Petal was used for colors. Then, when it has another Lotus Petal coming, which I assume is not really what they want. So I will go Stormchaser's Talent immediately, creating my Otter. I am probably going to end up Lightning Bolting this thing. I might find a better target though. And if I wait to Lightning Bolt until my own turn, I can potentially do better crimes. That was Kozilek's command not using the Lotus Petal. I mean, I'll daze this, I guess. I'm going to return the land, despite the fact that I could pay for this. Then I can potentially Lightning Bolt face and take out this creature for free if my opponent sends in. Alright, they do not send in. I'm going to clear this body. Just looking at my count for Murktide Regent here. Ooh, hot damn. Wasteland, Eldrazi Temple. Here's Murktide Regent again. Exactly. Send in for 1 with the Otter. No fun things in graveyard for leveling up Stormchaser's talent. But I'm hoping this game is effectively over at this stage. There is an It That Heralds the End. And opponent passing the turn back. Daze is not what I am looking for at this stage. I'll just send in with Murktide. I'm not gonna bluff attack here. I think my opponent is kind of obligated to block. There's an Eldrazi Temple. Lotus Petal. There's Eldrazi Linebreaker. I think I just daze that to deal 2 points of damage to my opponent. So cast Prowess trigger. And if my opponent taps Ancient Tomb, Murktide Regent kills them. Very nice. GG. I think I'm good. Alright, my opening hand is pretty strong here, although Leyline of the Void is a bit annoying. As long as there's not Cavern of Souls, I probably recover pretty easily from just a Leyline of the Void. Oh, nice. Do I wait to play this until it converts into damage next turn? I think I do. Yeah. Stormchaser's Talent. Trigger. Pass turn. Eldrazi Temple. Chalice of the Void on 1. I will say no to that with Daze. Yeah. Get countered. Thundering Falls, not really what I'm looking for. I might end up brainstorming that away. But I might need to use Brainstorm for Force of Will, so you know. Let's see what happens here. That's a bit awkward. I think I just want to cast spells on my own turn to trigger Prowess right now. I think there's a good chance that I end up countering something with Force of Will on my next turn. I don't know, maybe I can take the Daze, pitch it to Force of Will, and then keep the Brainstorm to cast. Ooh. Alright, opponent attempting to play around Daze here. Green mana. Opponent is going to exile this. And that's a trigger, so that's happening. I'm okay with this body sitting there. I can probably overpower that with the Otter. Nice. I will go land drop, Stormchaser's Talent, trigger, say no to land, resolve this, go to combat, send in with the Otter. I'll cast another spell if my opponent blocks. Yeah. Alright, so now I have Consign available for Eldrazi Linebreaker, assuming no Cavern of Souls as the draw for turn. And Brainstorm on my following turn is worth a decent amount. This is annoying. I think I just let it happen, but it's annoying. I wish my Thundering Falls was in my deck. I cast a cantrip last turn. I junked a card into graveyard. Alright, I'll hold the fetch land for after a Brainstorm. Lightning Bolt. Totally fine card. So I will Brainstorm now. Triggers. Ponder is fine. I will just keep that on top. So I would like to keep Thing to pitch to Force of Will, Consign Lightning Bolt, probably the land. Do these two back. I could also just get rid of the Thundering Falls and keep Ponder, and that pushes damage a little harder. Yeah, let's do that. So I will go to combat. I will send in with my Otters and see how you feel about it. All right, no blocks. I won't do any more. 12. I'll pass turn here. Glaring Fleshraker. I think I'll just counter that with Consign. Say no. DRC, just fully functional card under Lightning Bolt. Or sorry, under Leyline of the Void. All right. 3, 6, 9, 12. Send in Otter. Send in Otter. Opponent double blocking. Deal you 9 directly, have Force of Will. I really want to send both bolts at face if I can. I think what I'll do is Brainstorm, triggers, keep this here. Ball. Okay. Bolt on top of library. Draw. These cards are all fine. Go 1, 2. I think it's fine to kill a creature. Say no to the land that I put on top so that I draw Bauble. Win combat, putting my opponent to 9. I have 2 Otters in play, 6 points of burn. Otters attack for 3 each. Force of Will for Eldrazi Linebreaker. No. Absolutely not. We'll put this back on top. An opponent says, should have bounced your tokens versus the enchantment, referring to Wascape Battle Mage. Based on how this play out, I agreed. I don't think I ever got to enough mana to do anything crazy. All right, there's Glaring Fleshraker. So, Bobble, triggers, Murktide Regent. No. So that my opponent cannot block. We'll now do this. Ponder can stay on top if my opponent is somehow alive. And we have gotten the GG here. And my opponent dies to combat damage without me needing to use the other lightning bolt. That was certainly a slaughter in my favor, and we didn't lose it for my initial punt versus Eldrazi line breaker. GG. Alright, my opening hand is certainly lacking in mana. Easy mulligan twice. It happens. Third hand is fine as long as we are playing against something fair. I will keep. We will treat these as our 5. And hope we don't die on turn 1 to oops all spells. Bloodstained Mire LED. Well, the good news is we're not dying to oops all spells on turn 1. The bad news is that my opponent is probably an Echo deck. I think I'm going to get my threat into play. I think I'm going to get my threat into play, but cycle both baubles looking for Force of Will. So bauble, trigger, lightning bolt, 2 yard. Bauble, trigger, lightning bolt to yard. What am I drawing? Another DRC. I can fish 1 deeper. I'm going to do so. I was supposed to target that on my opponent. They're going to surveil land anyway. I just really like looking at that DRC. Yeah, there we go. There's the surveil land. Ooh, opponent keeps the card on top. What a disaster. All right, the other card 1 further down was not a counterspell. Okay, it was not Echo, it was Brainstorm. Still probably bad. If I untap and put the second DRC into play, and then like find a counterspell off a Brainstorm, we're probably in business. Another LED? Land drop? Uh-huh. Ooh. Hot damn. Not dead. Not dead is a great state here. So, there's DRC. I have 2 card types in graveyard. Instant is already one of them. I think I hold the Brainstorm accordingly. I will cast it in response to something scary going on the stack. Otherwise, I will get a card deeper and then cast it when I can put back this snow-covered island. Opponent taps their card again. Thanks, I hate it. Yeah. Fuck. That spell sure can't be countered. Last card Echo. Last card Echo. All right, here's the good news. The good news is that this is symmetrical. I can now get a hand that has Lightning Bolt and counterspells and interact again. That's not what happened, but it is something that could have happened. So my opponent has free reign to do their thing. And this is incredibly awkward. Hexing Squelcher, in particular, is a reason why you might see more blue elemental blasts and hydroblasts in sideboards of decks that look like this. Fuck! You stop that shit. That's so good. Oh shit, I am not dead. In which case, it's very possible that I have a disgusting turn here. This was lucky. So, land drop, Cori-Steelcutter as spell 1. I'm going to surveil incredibly aggressively here because I want to make DRC's 3/3 flyers this turn, and I should be able to do that. So, Monk Friend, Boomerang Basics. Yeah, you go to graveyard. This is 3. Artifact will be 4. I don't want to land. Now, Bobble again. I don't know that Wasteland is more relevant than something like Burn. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. So you are drawing... hate it. I think I leave the other Bobble in play for right now. Opponent eats all the damage. I will draw the burn spell that's on top of my deck, and then I can use Bobble with Flooded Strand to further inform my decisions. Fuck. That's black, 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 1. I guess I already had black, 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 1. So Beseech was already live. Opponent to 6. Lightning Bolt does not immediately do it through double Hexing Squelcher. What if they sacked a Hexing Squelcher? They did not. So this is just a ton of mana here. Can't counter it. Now that is Gaia's Will. Sure. Is this deterministic with that little in graveyard? All 3 pieces of artifact mana get played out. Storm is only 5. Storm of 6, 7, 8. 1 more Beseech. That's Tendrils. So my opponent intends to attack me for the last 4. So I need to take some action now. I will go to 2, and then I need to stop both of these, but they each have ward pay 2 life. So I can daze as 1 spell. Oh man, am I losing this by 1? So I fetch, go to 3. Lightning Bolt a Squelcher. Alright. So there's an untapped Volk. I will go ahead and daze a Tendrils. I've got some triggers. That can go away. That... I'm going to hope that that can stay. Because multiple Cori-Steelcutters keeps me alive versus this stuff. Oh wait, this has 2 instances of ward pay 2 life. The Lightning Bolt doesn't work. I guess the first instance doesn't do it either. So I can Lightning Bolt face, make 1 blocker die to the other. So close there. GG. Cards didn't quite pan out. Consign is actively good on a number of different levels. I need the Lightning Bolts for Hexing Squelcher. I think I'm not going to Boomerang Basics. I want Force of Negation. Do I just need more than 4 Lightning Bolts to deal with Squelcher? This is where the blue elemental blasts would be kind of sweet. And probably go down a threat or 2 here. This is fine. Could Pyroblast, could Cage, could Force of Negation. I think I will still respect my opponent as a combo deck and be willing to aggressively fight over Hexing Squelchers when possible. My hands that have a 1-drop threat are pretty important. Oh, that's awkward. So this doesn't have the second, land, the red land, to cast Cori-Steelcutter, but I have more or less everything else that I want. I think I am going to keep this and save the Bauble for 1 turn in case I randomly spike a red source. The first monk matters a lot. Land and pass. Jetmir's Garden and pass. I think it is better to knock my opponent off of a mana and delay Cori-Steelcutter for 1 turn than to get Cori-Steelcutter in and attack for 1 immediately. Delaying Squelcher is pretty real. So, yeah. Volk, Cori-Steelcutter, Bauble, send in for 2, 18. I think I'm going to play chicken with this Surveil land here. Cool. Commercial District. Opponent keeps their card. What's so good over there? Lotus Petal. Reasonable. I will take my redraw. Alright, cool. This means that I can cast 2 cards on my turn to trigger Cori-Steelcutter again, if I need to, and if I think that's a good idea. Petal is fine. Chromox is fine. I'm going after a payoff card here, with only Force of Negation available right now. No Imprint. LED is fine. If my opponent discards for an Echo, I will Force of Negation it and be totally fine with that. That is not fine. I counter that so that if my opponent wheels, I have something to do afterwards. Get out of there. Unfortunately, my opponent is continuing their turn. Oseju to bin. So it is an Echo. Oh man, Daze is the best that I have here. That is not great. Oh man, my opponent's hand is terrible though. Okay, I mean, I'll take it. So I think I am into Ya. Spell 1. Ya. Spell 2. Yes. No to land. Always yield to prowess. Look at the top of my own deck. There's a Bauble. I do not want that. I will go ahead and fetch immediately. There's Volk. Let's start trying to rack up the damage while looking for more counter spells. Yeah. Scrubland. White mana. I'm just casting this for damage at this point. I haven't counted. My opponent might just actually be dead. 4, 8, plus Stormchaser's talent. Take note of that. So this is 10 damage, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I can keep my opponent from fetching. Having access to a consign on my next turn might be better, or having my opponent fetch. I miss out on some damage if I don't bolt. Bolting Squelcher also matters, though. All right. Opponent to 6. 3 Bauble redraws. Eat. Force of Will. Nice. And Wasteland. So there's a land that we knew about. If you would like to remove one of my permanents, you may do so. This is a silence. I'm less excited about that. I will go ahead and Force of Will that, pitching Daze, triggering a large number of permanents. Say no to Scalding Tarn. Silence plus Veil plus Hexing Squelcher is kind of rude. Blue mana for Brainstorm. That may resolve. I can't counter it anyway. LED is happening. My opponent is paying a cost on something weird. What is that? What has this, like an X cost or something? Okay, I mean, that's Echo. I could Lightning Bolt my opponent to 3. I don't know that that does anything. I'll just take the fresh cards with the mana available. Alright, so I can Brainstorm and Daze. That's fine. That does open up black and blue mana. I don't love this. I think I start by dazing it, returning this island to my hand, because that triggers a whole bunch of my permanents and lets me surveil. Lightning Bolt, I will now say no to. Just looking for more hard counters right now. Alright, opponent does pay. So I will Brainstorm. I can surveil again. All the prowess friends popping off. Always yield to the otter. No to Flooded Strand. Relooks at something that messes with Veil. Another Daze. Sure. Awkward, but sure. Put back land. Land. Daze your Veil of Summer. Trigger Gang is triggering. Say no to a land. I guess I wanted to stack that in the other order. I don't know that it matters. My opponent is just dead if it makes it to my turn. Alright, they will Brainstorm in response, rather than pay for Daze. So Daze successfully counters Veil. Are we echoing again? We are not echoing again. I win this one. GG. Do I have some other options? I could play Grafdigger's Cage as something that messes with Gaia's Will lines. I could play Pyroblasts for Echoes. Needing to keep the bolts and potentially also the Unholy Heats in respect of Squelcher is a little awkward. I think I'm good here. This is a pretty weak opening hand. If my opponent goes for it on turn 1, I can't stop them. That said, is it a mulligan? Because my opponent usually needs some setup time, and Wastelanding a Triome or whatever is cool. On my opponent's 7-card hand, maybe I just mulligan this one. It also doesn't have a threat. Oh, that's not great. That is not great at all. I will go to 5. Deck. I beg you. I am going to keep this on 5. My situation is very bad. I'm going to keep a whole bunch of counter spells. Too easy to get Brainstorm locked. I'll do this. Keep some variety. Have a cantrip that I can cast or pitch if I need to. Rubland, pass the turn. You've got it. I don't super want to Wasteland, but it's not like Wasteland casts a ton of my spells anyway. So we will trade these on land drops here. Silence. What a punish for not doing this on my own turn. Resolves? Bluff? Resolves. I don't know that this is a kill turn with no mana in play going into first main. It's very awkward if I'm wrong. But if I Force of Will silence and then my opponent just discards me, things get awkward very quickly. Alright, let's see if I die. It is a Beseech for Gaia's Will. Is the last card in your hand something that imprints under Chromebox? Needs to be. That's 3 mana for Dark Ritual? Awkward. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't really thinking that this was going to be a combo turn with no mana starting in play. If the opponent's last card is something that imprints under Chrome Mox, they go Lotus Petal for Dark Ritual, and then Beseech the Mirror is castable. And that'll probably end up being a kill. Alright. GG's. Who needs to cast spells? Magic is great sometimes. We are playing against Otter Emoji. Well, guess what, Otter Emoji? I'm going to be making otters too. Opening hand is fine. I'm going to aggressively surveil for a land specifically here. Never didn't have it. And let's see what my opponent is doing. Swords to Plowshares. That's not an otter at all. Days as top card of library? Damn. We never could have known that it wasn't Days. No way of telling whatsoever. Actual factual plateau. You've got it. So I don't really need this otter to get bigger right now. I think I'm going to ponder in case I see a DRC here. I like all of these cards. Bam, bam, bam. No to Ponder's ability. Stormchaser's talent. Pass turn. Pretty well suited if this is something in the energy ballpark. This is a control deck. I can Boomerang Basics my Stormchaser's talent. Yeah. So we Boomerang Basics, Stormchaser's talent, trigger our otters, draw a card here, cast a Stormchaser's talent, trigger our otters. I think I am okay doing this once again, despite the fact that I could get more damage out of it next turn. I still just have Ponder to cast next turn. Punchy o'clock. In for 4. Opponent to 16. See what's going on. It is a wasteland. Would label that as slightly annoying. Take the redraw. Alright, there's DRC. I'm going to get wastelanded off of Volk in all likelihood, though. There it is. Goodbye, Volk. Opponent passing the turn back. Now it is ponder time, and we're looking for a land. Hit land. Bam, bam, bam. No shuffle. Yeah. Fetch. Actual factual stifle? Actual factual stifle. I could daze for some damage. I don't know that that makes sense to do. Send in 4 damage. 12. This is probably some Felia Quantum Riddler pile. Third land. There is a Tamiyo. Hate that. That occurs. So Tamiyo now pluses to 4. We'll see how much I can do towards destroying Tamiyo here. A lot of it depends whether or not I have a red land a little further down. That is straight up a Force of Will. I probably just Force of Will for Otter prowess purposes here. Yeah. Junking a Daze. Oh, no. No, 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 no. Alright, found another Daze. Because I cast that extra spell, I now get to attack and kill Tamiyo. The Daze that is in my hand is not particularly strong right now, though. Looted Delta, 2 cards left in hand. This is where something like a Quantum Riddler starts to get scary. Yeah, so I can't successfully Daze that here. That's a draw 2. Brainstorm occurs. This means that there is not a stifle effect that can get Riddler. It could still get ephemerated. Out it goes. Volcanic Island is a thing. If I bolt face, opponent goes to 7 and then takes 4 going to 3. And then a bolt, in theory, kills them from there. So I think I'm just going to go face with bolts rather than play out DRC here. I think I am, kind of a true tempo deck here, in that I am just trying to get my ass over the finish line before my opponent's bigger stuff stabilizes. Oh, sick. GG. I guess they know there are other cards from Brainstorm. I thought that was going to go a lot worse, honestly. Alright, let's do a bunch of Pyroblasts for Tamiyos and Quantum Riddlers. I'm not hyper interested in Daze here, I don't think. I think I need to be able to trade with my opponent's cards consistently, which I don't know that Daze does. I will play maybe an extra Unholy Heat to answer Tamiyo and Felia. Just a touch red heavier than I might like. That's a reason to not necessarily max out on Cori-Steelcutters in your builds, by the way. Alright, reasonable set of cards. I will play Bobble on turn 2 when I play Cori-Steelcutter. Opponent does mulligan as well, and does a tapped land on turn 1. I might go ahead and play a basic on turn 1. I really don't want to get wastelanded off of Cori-Steelcutter on turn 2 specifically, because the longer I wait on Cori-Steelcutter, the longer that Mishra's Bobble is trapped in my hand, and doing a fetch land on turn 1 just plays around actual factual stifle on my fetch land. Brainstorm is fine, and a fetch land to clear, although it looks like opponent is not cracking yet. Another Bobble. Alright, well, we're going to drop the land that does not get stifled immediately. Yield to the Otter. Very fast Force of Will. I accept. We will get some Otter damage in, though, by casting 2 Bobbles. Send in for 4. Opponent to 15. Do one of these. Wasteland coming. Let's play Surveil Land Chicken. Wasteland gone. Basic Island instead. Sure. Draw. Force of Will. Plateau. And we're chilling. I'll now Bobble. Daze. Sure. So redraw here. Sick. So, Cori-Steelcutter, first spell. Resolves. Fetch land? That is a Stifle. I believe that I Force of Will that to trigger Cori-Steelcutter. Yes. Pick up my Volcanic Island. Boomerang Basics. The Stormchaser's Talent. Trigger Prowess. Wasteland is okay. This is 7 damage crashing in. Alright, looks like it all goes through. We know that our opponent is getting a Daze, and I can play around that pretty easily. The card that we want to dodge is Wrath of the Skies. A Wrath of the Skies for X equals 2. Clearing out all 3 of my relevant permanents would be a little rough. So now we are officially positive in the league. Barrow-Goyf's a little bit annoying for us. GG's. Alright. Opening hand could really use another land, but with double Force of Will Daze here, I don't think I am throwing this back. Basic Mountain on the other side of the battlefield. I need to do Volk so that Daze is live and I can cast DRC. I think I want another land badly enough that I don't do that. See what's going on. Cavern of Souls. Fuck. Alright. Redraw Wasteland? We draw Wasteland? Fuck yeah. So good at Magic. Cavern on Goblin. Xing Squelcher. Understood. That's in play. Get out of my way. I will pay the life. Surveil all... I don't think I'd take that land. Wasteland. Junk Cavern. In for 3. Xing Squelcher. Really shits on... Fuck you! Second Wasteland on top. Life is cruel. In for 3. Down to 14. Boomerang Basics it again. We are making the graveyard nice and thick for a Murktide Regent. Okay, that'll answer the Squelcher, but there's still Cavern. Say no, we're looking for Brainstorm now. Note that I'm the one who had... like to announce my retirement from Magic the Gathering. It's been real, y'all. See you on the other side. Owl Squad Heavy. Yes. 5 counter spells. Fuck. Okay. All right. Come on, Brainstorm. Stormchaser's Talent. Nah. Okay. So the good news is we found Murktide Regent. The bad news is everything else about this situation. In for 3. Opponent to 11. So we are not anywhere near max speed for this becoming red Gaia's Cradle. Welcher's back. Now this stuff has ward. Other goblins you control have haste. Brutal. I am at 8. Oh ho. Can't be countered. Yep. That one's not a goblin, but Hexing Squelcher did its thing. We had the wrong half of the deck here. GG. Well, absolutely not on those. Do I have enough stuff to bring in here? I don't have the red elemental blasts. I can pyroclasm. And sign is not overly exciting. I guess I'm keeping Force of Will. I'll junk Daze, let those become Unholy Heats. And then there's Grafdigger's Cage for something like Muxus. I don't know if my opponent is going to go up to Muxus. It might be much lower to the ground. Good old-fashioned Slogfest. We stand there and punch each other in the face and we see who dies first? Sure. Prefer Ponder over Brainstorm here, but with multiple spot removal spells here, I don't know that I get to be any pickier than this. If for some reason I feel like I need to Force of Will and I lose this Brainstorm, yeah, everything about this hand does become off-chord. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Notably, I do not believe that we have ever activated Stormchaser Talent's middle ability this league, which is not my normal experience. Yeah, see, this is exactly what I was just talking about. I mean, yeah. Always yield to this. Okay, the next land drop is nice. I'm going to cast Grafdigger's Cage for a point of damage, and then leave open, grabbing a Surveil land. Ancient Tomb probably makes it more likely that my opponent has Muxus. Alright, Cavern is here, but I've, again, really hedged on the counter spells. Goblin Matron seems good. Going for Broadside, which I can Lightning Bolt. So great card, not the end of the world. Thundering Falls. I'm going to say no. Just kind of want something like a cantrip that I can cast. Yeah, that's fine. I will send in with my 2/2. Opponent to 12. There might need to be a dance done regarding Pyroclasm and these otter tokens. We'll see where that ends up falling. Taiga. Hierarchy. Yep. There's Broadside. I think I just kill it. Like, as much as I want to try to extract maximum value, Broadside is a scary Magic the Gathering card. Cori-Steelcutter. Trigger. In for 4. Opponent to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Land drop 6. Could get to some big stuff. Carpet. That will be mana positive. Consideration of attacks. Determine no. Squelcher comes in. Hierarch comes in. Pyroclasm is looking juicy. So I would like to find a land off of Ponder. So triggers. I did find the land. So 1, 2, 3. Use Ponder's ability. No. Land drop. Do I cast this now or afterwards? Now the otters will be 3/3s. Pyroclasm. Yeah, you know, we'll put that on that monk. That was a sweet Pyroclasm. GG's. I have a bunch of draws there that do that same thing. So Ponder, Brainstorm, Bobble all are very, very good with the Pyroclasm there. And if I have to just Pyroclasm to 4 for 1 my opponent, I sweep my otters, but I leave it so Cori-Steelcutter probably cleans up my opponent. I think I'm good. Could consider more Force of Will on the draw for Chalice of the Void. Very fast keep from my opponent. My hand doesn't do anything. Second hand is fine. I'll keep that. Probably pitch Brainstorm. Just go down in case my opponent chalices me on turn 1. Goblin Lackey. Understood. So Boomerang Basics always works on getting that out of play. DRC usually works, but Fury is a thing. Let's not risk it. Because next turn I can play Cori-Steelcutter, trigger Cori-Steelcutter, I guess that's kind of a similar situation, though. Lackey comes back. Ooh. Okay, I mean, this is safer. So, throw down DRC. I'm going to hold these. And I will end up doing Unholy Heat on Goblin Lackey. I don't think I need to do it yet for any reason. You do your thing. And pick up the Surveil land. Ancient Tomb goes bye-bye. Ancient Tomb. Goblin Matron. Or a Hierarch. Which is kind of sweet. So do I kill Lackey or Hierarch? I think I kill Hierarch. Hierarch represents being closer to Muxus. I would trade this for this. Let's go to the beginning of combat. Eat on Hierarch. Surveil trigger. Murktide Regent. 3 cards in graveyard. 4 cards in graveyard. I think I'd rather just abuse Cori-Steelcutter. The Lackey can't attack. DRC now has to attack. That's hopefully not that big of a deal. I Wasteland Ancient Tomb to prevent the big burst damage. Throw down Cori-Steelcutter. Say no to land. Do Bobble. Trigger Cori-Steelcutter. Say yes. Bobble. Bobble's okay. I have better draws. Like, a regular cantrip is a better guarantee at doing what I want to do. I'm going to hold back Monk Token, but attack with DRC. So 14. Do this. Cavern incoming. Understood. Bobble redraw. Sure. So the fear is something like Fury that removes this token into cheating a Muxus into play. So like Broadside is also scary in that same regard. Owl Squad Heavy. That gives the goblins haste. Seems good. This has to attack, meaning that a Matron attack makes sense. I will go ahead and block Matron and have it die so it can't be thrown via Broadside later. My opponent ticks their speed up. We'll see what I can do from here. Delta is mid. I'm thinking about whether or not I am manually moving this over to DRC to be attacking for 4. I think this as a 2 power body is valuable. I'm going to go ahead and play this. Surveil. Lightning Bolt is fine. I can decide whether or not I want to keep it. Do I attack for 6 with Lightning Bolt on top? This is pretty aggressive. Alright, opponent eats it, going to 8. I'll pass the turn with the ability to either draw or not draw Lightning Bolt as is needed. Squelcher occurs. House Squad Heavy makes a friend. Alright, with Lackey coming in, I just pretty much have to block. My opponent does not know that my last card is a land. Alright, I think I will take 2 from the tokens. So if I send in every creature on my turn, life's pretty awkward for my opponent. So I always deal 3 in the air. I probably deal 6 counting the Lightning Bolt directly to face. And there's the Monk token, Trample, and the Otter token as well on top of that. If I assume Howl Squad Heavy gets in front of the Monk token, I kill Howl Squad Heavy. Otter token potentially gets blocked. If Otter token doesn't get blocked, I'm fine. I think I'm just taking this. Speed goes up. 3 speed, not max speed. There's a Cavern. Is there ever a line where I move Cori-Steelcutter to DRC? Just move, attack for 4, do not attempt lethal. I don't hate it. I still don't know if my opponent has something like Lightning Bolt available to them that could disrupt what I am doing. I think I'm going to try to 2-turn this. So move to DRC, go to combat, send in for the 4 in the air, keep 2 blockers back, have Lightning Bolt as interaction. I think I'm good with this. And I think I'm just trying to prevent a Muxus style thing from happening, both by denying max speed and denying Goblin Lackey getting in. Sweet game. So it looks like we're going to go to the beginning of combat, at which point my opponent would get a token with Howl Squad Heavy. I think I give them the token so that Broadside can't be cast. But then Lightning Bolt Howl Squad Heavy. Brainstorm is fine. I will pay the life. Fuck! Didn't think of it that way. We're in combat. Hopefully that mana doesn't matter now. Maybe I let my opponent attack with more creatures and don't deny the haste there. Matron or Sling Gang Lieutenant. Okay. Last card, Skirk Prospector. It is not. That is a 4-1 finish to this league. Damn you, Bryant. You stopped my trophy. GG's. Deck is pretty sweet. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Pretty good. I don't want to play against black decks. Other than that, the rest of the stuff felt pretty reasonable. The main deck Lightning Bolts don't necessarily deal with Barrogoyfs, Nethergoyfs, things of that nature, but the very aggressive Stormchaser's Talent, Cori-Steelcutter, and DRC did fantastic today. Boomerang Basics as Unsummon was something that was necessary to do sometimes. That's not all that different from Brazen Borrower's purposes in many games, but the flexibility of Boomerang Basics to just rebuy your otters is really strong. This was not a great league for the second and third abilities of Stormchaser's Talent, but they were certainly there if the games went longer. We played against some combo and some other aggressive decks today, so that was not the case. And our Eldrazi opponent sent multiple of these to the Shadow Realm so that we did not have the possibility of reusing them. Is maxing out on Cori-Steelcutter and Stormchaser's Talent and Boomerang Basics all at the same time the ideal way to play this deck? Probably not, but it's not actually all that bad. Like this is a very, very, very strong Legacy deck, and I give it a thumbs up in that regard. I'm sure you could futz with this a little more. Grafdigger's Cage was good. This was something that I played over something like Surgical. Surgical might have synergy with Stormchaser's Talent because you can rebuy it, but there's a decent amount of like natural order and creature style tutoring going on in the format right now that Grafdigger's Cage can mess with. So I like this a lot. I had a fun time playing this. It was a relatively fast league. There's a lot to like here. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. I hope you all enjoyed. Have a great rest of the day, folks. See ya.